I don't care what the temperature says. I don't care what your thermostat says. It's springtime. It is springtime in Nebraska. The Huskers are on the field and getting ready for 2022. So that's all that matters. So lock it in here for the next hour. Comments, questions in the live chat, and we will get to them right here at Huskers Live, right here on the Voice of College Football. Greg Peterson, Husker Online, of course, makes it happen 58 straight times. Hey, Greg, how's it going?
Hey, Mark. It's going. I'm playing hurt a little bit. Got some back issues going on, but you know what? You're no good if you can't play. You're no good. So beautiful 76-degree day here in Lincoln to start off March.
76.
76 degrees here today, and spring football was underway, and had the privilege of being able to practice outside. So yeah, it's all good today.
Oh my goodness. I guess it is spring. See, I said that to start things out because it's about 25 degrees for a lot of us.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Global warming.
Okay. Well, I'd like to get some global warming coming in my direction.
Had one snow. Have one snow the whole year so far, and I didn't even have to clean the driveway because it melted so quick.
Pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. All right, folks. Again, hit the like button, share these videos out on social media, subscribe right here at the Voice of College Football. Let's build this show.
I did not know that.
All right.
I'm
looking at what's that?
Moonbot's in Denver. I didn't know that. He's very close to us.
Yeah, I found that out sometime last few weeks. I'm looking at 3 transfers that have left. Nadab Joseph, cornerback. Darius Payne, edge rusher, and William Nixon, wide receiver, gone.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of those, the 2 recent ones. I think you look at. We'll start with Will Nixon, a kid that I liked and showed some flashes, but obviously he's been here a couple of years now, and I think he kind of saw, when you see what Nebraska brought in here through the transfer portal and with the recruiting class, 7 new bodies in that wide receiver room, and I think he's just looking at going into spring ball and probably got a little bit of a whisper in his ear about where he might be at on the depth chart going into spring, and so that's not really a surprise. Now, Darius Payne is the one that is kind of strange to me because, he'd already gone into the transfer portal once since the season ended and then decided to come back. And, yeah, and he's a guy that figured into, a lot of playing time, one of those guys with veteran with some, some playing time under his belt. And, that's a head scratcher to me. I don't know, and in a position of need as well. And that one's strange to me. Not quite sure what's going on there, but I don't know. I can only assume maybe there was a rift in the locker room because he'd already, fished around in the transfer portal once. I don't know. Only time will tell that we might hear about what's going on with that. But, those were the two most recent ones. So,
all right, Greg. So back to spring practice. It started here in the last 2 days, right?
Yeah, yesterday. First day yesterday. Yep.
Started on Monday, and you and the rest of the media got to talk to the coaches and a collection of players.
Yep. Yeah, we had a big, it was almost like a regular season Monday press conference around here, and my goodness, it was a zoo. there was a lot more people there than are usually there. I'm not sure where they're all coming from, but it was pretty good. We started off. We got to hear from 6 of the players that talked at the podium in front of us all, and then Coach Frost came up and talked, and then they had a bunch of roundtables out and had all the offensive assistant coaches at various roundtables for a half an hour, and then the defensive coaches for another half an hour. So Yeah, we got to bend all their ears. We got to finally meet Brian Applewhite, the running backs coach, for the first time. And Bill Bush was the first time we got to talk to him since he'd been elevated. Obviously, he was here as an advisory role last year, but now that he's the new special teams coordinator, he's now a part of this whole media frenzy that happens here in Lincoln because not a lot else goes on around here in the sporting world besides Nebraska football. So it's really good. I mean, we got a lot of insight, and obviously it's only one practice into it when we talk to everybody, but it was good. Everybody was upbeat, and Coach Frost was cracking jokes. You got a little bit of insight from what some of the players have seen. Like Garrett Nelson talked about the new quarterbacks and all their different traits and how they're trying to handle each one of them when they go up against them. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff, and we've got some names here that we're looking at here that are going to be able to utilize a lot of snaps here in the spring because of various injuries that some veterans are not participating in spring. But it's great to get things rolling here, and there's 17 new faces here that joined the team. They're out here for spring ball. That's 17 out of that recruiting class. So that's a lot of new guys here early, and can't wait to actually eyeball practice here when we get our first opportunity.
And when's that coming up?
I don't know. We got a schedule sent to us yesterday, and it did not mention Photo Media Day. And I asked what was going on, and all I got was a TBD. So that's all I can really tell you right now.
Cole, it's great to have you here. Cole was in our last show, just wrapped up a few minutes ago, our Iowa live stream. So Cole has made it on over here to the Nebraska stream. Appreciate you being here. Greg and Mark, what are your worries? Worries in caps. We're talking about some serious worries on the offensive side for this coming season. Answer can't be O-line because everyone knows that's a worry. Well, kind of takes a few away, but
yeah, I mean, obviously that's probably where you've got to start because if you don't have it up front, you're not going to be very successful. And obviously, with a new offensive line coach coming in, and a very young offensive line with a few veterans that are splashed in there, guys that have transferred in, that's obviously where you're worried about. I mean, I don't think you can dodge that whatsoever because you look at the other rooms on that offensive side of the ball. You got to, and the word that comes up at every other single room, maybe except for tight end, is competition. You saw what this coaching staff did in the offseason and how much they brought in different types of wide receivers, a lot of running backs, and obviously some pretty highly ranked and big name quarterbacks to add to all these rooms. And it's an open competition all across the board, including offensive line. And we're going to see a lot of these young guys get some chances here in the spring to really prove themselves. And there's a name that I really like that on the offensive line that I think is going to be one hell of a football player, and I think is going to have a breakout time, and that's Henry Lutovsky. He's just a beast. When I saw him play in high school, I knew he was going to be a Husker and just dominate on that offensive line and then play in the NFL. And I think he's going to get a good chance here to show what he's got, and then open up all that competition across. You're going to see guys changing positions, and we're going to see how this all shakes out under a brand new scheme, and all across the board with a new offensive coordinator and a new offensive line coach, a new running backs coach, a new wide receivers coach. So I can't wait to see the competition and to see what kind of show they put on there April 1st when the spring game is televised there on BTN.
Well, I got to add the running back position. There's some production coming back. Ramir Johnson did some good things when he got touches, and he did more so down the stretch. But
he got banged up down there. Last 4 games he was banged up. So
it is a little thin, and there are some question marks.
Well,
running back.
You've added 3 new bodies to a running back room already. That you just mentioned Ramir Johnson, but Gabe Urban's coming off an injury as well, who was the starter going into the season last year. You got Marquis Stepp as well, and Jaquez Yant. So yeah, it's kind of a question mark. I don't think it's a concern because the firepower that you just added through the transfer portal and through the recruiting class. I can't wait to see how this shakes out, and that's why I'm not concerned. It's not a question mark to me because I think they've got a lot of bodies, a lot of different guys that bring different attributes to the table, and we're gonna see, because one thing that kind of stood out to me, a question that Mark Whipple was asked yesterday, and I believe it was my boss Sean Callahan that asked that question. That he asked, "Can you win in the Big Ten without a 1,000-yard rushing, without a rusher, a 1,000-yard rusher out of the running back spot?" And Mark Whipple he thought about it for a little bit, and he talked about his days in the NFL with Jerome Bettis being the bell cow, and he talked about what he did at Pitt with a couple of guys here last year, and so basically the answer was that he can do it with a committee. He's done it before, and I think that he's got a lot of different guys that he can utilize in key roles as a game dictates. So I really like what they have at the running back spot.
On the surface, that struck me as kind of a silly question, because you can get it done a number of ways. You can either have the man who's going to rack up 1,500 yards plus, or you can have a number of guys. There are teams across the country that go to like 3 guys.
Yeah.
But when you look around the Big Ten, the very top teams typically do have a 1,000-yard rusher.
Or if you're talking about like a Wisconsin, if that guy gets hurt, they got another one behind him.
Well, sure,
do the same thing.
Yeah. I'm not even speaking to the guys that are capable of doing it. But
look at Minnesota. Look what Minnesota did last year.
It's fascinating.
How many
guys?
How many running backs? Yeah,
5
guys. Every week they lost their top guy. They still dominated.
Yeah, they were bringing in guy after guy after guy after guy, and they got to the 5th guy, and he's still running for 140 yards a game.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was impressive.
Yep.
Cole's back at it.
Update here. Nebraska's up 12-11 over Ohio State, number 23 right now in Columbus. Nebraska.
All right. Competition did not go well with Adrian and Luke. I don't know what to tell you, Cole.
Well, Adrian Martinez, when these guys were all recruited, and this was, you had Mario Verduzco as a quarterback coach too at this time, so keep that in mind. They had a plan when they were recruiting these guys. Adrian was slated to, he was going to play out his stuff, and Luke was now recruited to come in and replace Adrian when he moved on. And then Logan Smothers was recruited to come in and replace Luke McCaffrey. It was like a plan. They all knew it. They knew about the competition and how long you would have to wait. But then COVID hit, and then it kind of screwed up that whole plan. All of a sudden, Adrian Martinez, has like 3 extra years. to play. I'm joking there, but
Seemed like it.
yeah, it seemed like it. So that kind of threw everything haywire on that plan, and then you see the struggles that had happened, and obviously Mario Verduzco is no longer on the staff anymore, and um, they've totally re-racked everything, and now you bring in a couple of other quarterbacks that have two different type of skill sets as a quarterback that are veterans and still have a lot of playing time left at the college level, and so that kind of leaves Logan Smothers as that guy out there that obviously knows that he's got to come in and compete his balls off here to start spring ball and kind of see where he fits in here on the depth chart as spring gets over. And I wouldn't be surprised at all to see if after spring ball's over with, he kind of decides that maybe he better move on and see if there's greener pastures out there somewhere else. But you never know, because he's a high character kid and he loves Nebraska, and he is definitely one hell of a competitor, and he's not going to back down. And if I know him as well as I think I do, is he loves it and says, "Bring it on! I want the challenge. I'll go up against these two guys." And I've already been here for a couple of years, and you know what? I'm just as good as they are. I mean, he was ranked just as high as those two guys were coming out of high school. So we'll see. We will see.
Husker fans, Alan in the chat will tell you that we've got a Discord that we just started last Tuesday. So it's about a week old. And we've got, I don't know, about 20 people on there. So if you want to talk Nebraska football or any college football, just look us up on Patreon. Go to Patreon, search MarkRogersTV, sign up for Discord, and we will get you the link, and you will be all set to talk college football anytime, all the time, whenever you want, any team, any conference. And if you've got any suggestions, we will let you know that it can be changed in regards to the channel selections and everything that we've got over there on Discord. So go to Patreon, MarkRogersTV, sign up there, and I jump in the chat and look around and talk college football with all of you every day as well. All right. Next up, another junior day. So the next wave of prospects. It never ends with recruiting, and who's next?
Yeah, I mean, junior day, another here March 5th this weekend. They're getting another one in here. They've already hosted a couple here before that dead period happened, and there's going to be a lot of guys, 2023, 2024 guys, some 2025 guys here in town checking things out. And the nice thing about this timing of being able to do this is that you're in football operations. You're in spring ball right now, and there's nothing better to be able to have these prospects all come and visit and actually go out and check out a practice while they're here and see how things are done. Obviously the list of prospects that are going to be in attendance is always changing. But if there's one guy that I would target that is definitely going to be there, and he's a very high priority guy on Nebraska's list, and he's an in-state guy, and that's Maverick Noonan, Danny Noonan's son. Husker great, Husker legend, Danny Noonan's son, Maverick, who's a beast of a defensive end. He is a pass rushing specialist, and he's got the frame that he's going to grow into a monster, just like his dad. And his dad is still a monster. I'll tell you that right now. And he'll be here, and I you know what, he's a guy that keeps things kind of close to the vest, and he's kind of enjoying checking out different colleges and stuff right now. But I know for a fact that there's, out of the top 5 in-state recruits this year, Nebraska's already got 3 of them, and they're all good friends with him, and they're working on him, and one of his buddies, Gunnar Gatula, the offensive tackle commit, just told us Sunday that we're tight and I'm going to get him. So I like that kind of confidence coming out of a commit, of an in-state commit that grows up a Nebraska fan and dreams to play for Nebraska. And Maverick Noonan will tell you that that's not him. He's never been a Husker fan and never dreamed of that. But I don't know if I believe him when he says that. But yeah, that's the big name to look at right now, and that's a bell cow guy that you're looking at to land in this recruiting class. And if you go on to that other top 5th ranked guy as well that they don't have yet, that's Malachi Coleman out of Lincoln East. And he's a stud. He's another 6'6", wide receiver / pass rushing specialist. And I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up as a defensive end too. I've already compared him a lot to Randy Gregory. I've done it on this show before. But he also can turn around and look like Randy Moss at times too. So yeah, he's a stud. He comes out of my alma mater, and I've told a lot of people, since I've seen Malachi play, that you've never seen anybody ever like this at Lincoln East High School. And Nebraska's got a huge chance here. Very good chance to land all top 5 of these in-state prospects. And I think I mentioned to you earlier off the air, Mark, that we've been doing at Husker Online. We've been doing our in-state tour the last 2 Sundays here. That Sean started. I think it's the 17th or 18th year that we've been doing this. And, usually we used to always go out to the high schools personally. And since COVID hit, we have them come to us. So we've done it now 2 Sundays in a row at different athletic training facilities. And, we've talked to 30 of the top high school, 30 of the, big high schools around here, around the local area, and all their top prospects and their coaches. And the thing I mentioned to Sean, that I was just like, it's just crazy now how many guys that we're talking to now that already have multiple Power 5 offers at this time of their recruitment. And, it doesn't matter if they're going into their senior year or if they're juniors or sophomores. It's crazy how much talent, the talent level's grown around here so much, and that you have several now Power 5 schools coming in here recruiting like crazy. Just for an example, there's a prospect out at Scottsbluff High School, which is out right on the border of Colorado. It's closer to Denver than it is to Lincoln. And PJ Fleck flew into Scottsbluff on the private jet. And Scottsbluff doesn't have a very big airport. And he came in to make a personal visit to see this kid. And he's a monster. He's 6'7", 280 pounds right now, going into his senior year. And he's a transfer that just came in to Scottsbluff. And, it's just uncanny nowadays to see the talent level and the development of these young kids in the state of Nebraska that, growing up here myself, that I've never witnessed this before, and it's really cool.
So Malachi Coleman, according to Rivals, is the top-rated player in the state out of Lincoln Northeast, Lincoln, Nebraska East. Okay. Gunnar Katula, offensive tackle, Southeast, Ben Brommer. And so all those are Nebraska commits outside of Malachi Coleman and, of course, Maverick Noonan, who claims he didn't root for Nebraska. He's not a Nebraska fan.
Yeah, he kind of says that,
His dad's a legend.
I know. That's why I say I don't really believe. I think it's all smoke and mirrors recruiting process talk, if you ask me, because I guarantee you he's probably watched every one of his dad's game on film that he ever played.
All right. USC, Tim Prankley. Appreciate you being here, man. What's up, Mark, and fellow Voice of College Football fanatics? I didn't know we had Voice of College Football fanatics. That's good to know.
Oh, cool.
Appreciate you being here, Tim.
I hope they're good looking.
Well, that I don't know. Yeah, that they only so many show the picture, and even the pictures you can't necessarily trust. It's like dating apps, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right.
You knew you'd get some groupies here one of these days. That's why you did this.
Yeah, this is why I did this. No, I would have learned how to play the guitar. That's what I would have done with that. All right. Appreciate everybody being here. You know that we are here every Tuesday, 7 Eastern, 6 Central. And we would love for you to join us and also bring some folks with you. As we ask each and every week, we would love to grow the audience substantially. And so bring your family and friends in here. If they love Nebraska football, of course, they should be here. But even if they're just college football fans like a number of you, bring them on in. Again, it's Tuesday night at 6 Central. All right. Let's see what you guys have for us.
I don't know why Roger's thinking that there's going to be a Nebraska USC game anytime soon. Unless that's for the Rose Bowl.
I don't know.
I would take that, though. That would be fun.
I think he's basically just saying, Nebraska fans, if you're out here, I'll get you a ticket to the USC game.
Oh, okay. No, that makes sense.
Well, unless USC starts to win and starts packing out the Coliseum, I think anybody can go out there and get a seat these days.
Heck, I went out there and got a seat last time Nebraska played there. I was just happened to be in town covering, I think it was a USC Rising Stars camp or something.
Okay.
I think it was the weekend that Michael Jackson died.
Oh, well, that's been a while.
Yeah. That might have been a different trip, though. Don't hold me to that.
I saw something trending on Twitter yesterday, first day of Nebraska camp, that Casey Thompson is the starting quarterback. And I thought, did they just come out for no reason?
No.
And say that he's the starting quarterback?
No, I think that's media types just talking that, obviously I think you bring in Casey Thompson expecting him to be your starting quarterback. They haven't. No, they just had their first practice. That's the first time that he's had a helmet on. Obviously, they practice. First day they're in shells anyway, so it doesn't really mean much. But that's the first time that he's had a helmet on, and that he's actually been throwing. In a halfway live situation in front of the coaching staff and in front of the defense and other what they've worked with on the offense in their own time. So that's media people just saying that, coming in. And obviously that's kind of what you assume. That's why you went after him as a guy that's established, and then you got your plan B with Chubba Purdy. So it's an open competition, and do not leave Logan Smothers out of it. Don't leave Heinrich Harburg out of it, because just listen to Garrett Nelson break down day one and talking about all four of those guys I just mentioned with their different strengths. Obviously Logan's the big-time runner out of the group. Casey Thompson's the guy. He's the pocket guy. Chubba Purdy's the dual threat guy. He's just as good of a runner as he's a thrower. And all three of those guys are fast. Don't get me wrong. Obviously we know Logan Smothers is fast. Chubba Purdy is a fast guy too, and so is Casey Thompson when he wants to be. And then you got Heinrich Harburg, the tallest, the biggest stature guy that just throws balls on a rope and just snaps it in there on all those routes. So it's going to be a real cool competition to keep your eye on here going through spring ball and then on into fall camp.
Had Casey Thompson accomplished what he showed on the field at Texas last season and done that at Nebraska, and we were coming into a season in which he was already the starter and he had thrown 24 touchdown passes and put up the numbers that he did as a Nebraska Cornhusker, I fully expect and support the coach coming out if he fully believes that, this guy's the starter. We want him to continue to be the starter. He's proven enough, and saying he's the starter. But on the flip side, Casey Thompson did all those things and they're credible, but he did them at Texas. And so I think it's a bad message to the quarterback room if the coach would come out and say, this guy comes in from Texas and he did all this stuff at Texas and we're going to make him the starter before you guys ever step on the field and throw a pass. I just think that's not the way to do it. It's a new team. It's a new guy. He's got to prove it here.
And a brand new offensive coordinator as well.
Yeah.
That obviously is not going to be running the same stuff as Nebraska ran last year, which, that we all know was a very heavy run-oriented quarterback spot, which you're not going to see that anymore. And that's what Casey Thompson fits the best, because if you watch his film at Texas, he's not a guy that's going to run first. He's back there. He's scanning all of his different reads. And when he does take off, he takes off for a reason. And he does a pretty darn good job of picking up yards when he does take off to run. And like I said, it's not like he's running in molasses. So yeah, you're looking at a lot more controlled passing scheme that you're gonna see from Nebraska this year, and you're obviously not going to see 20 some runs from the quarterback position. That's just not going to happen. That's why you're working on a power offensive line, a power run game, and then with all your finesse with the receivers, some of this crazy talent that you brought in at the receiving position, 5-star, 4-star on down. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch this thing develop. And we haven't even mentioned the tight end spot. That obviously we lose Austin Allen, who's in Indianapolis this week for the NFL Combine. I think tight ends go on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. But you bring back Travis Volkolek, who's another guy that's probably going to be an NFL player next year. And then, your bell cow recruiting class last year with Thomas Fidone, who missed most of the year with injury. And another thing that with spring ball right now, Travis Volkolek's going to be sitting out most of the spring, if not all of it. So that means it's Thomas Fidone's turn to take that position over here in the spring and really show what he can do. So, yeah, you got to love what they got with the various weapons and all the new possibilities that we're going to see out of things. And that's the one thing right now. It's kind of cool as well that it's all mystery right now. We haven't seen any of it yet. All we can go off of is what they told us that happened yesterday in spring practice number 1.
I love the NFL Combine. I've been telling myself every day, reminding myself for about a week, the NFL Combine starting next Monday. It's starting next Monday. It's starting next Monday. And then came today and I completely forgot, didn't think about turning on the TV. Was here recording and working throughout the day. And then I jump on here with Greg before we started to record and he mentions the NFL Combine. I went, forgot to watch it today. I'll turn on the NFL Network. We've got a call-in show right after this. Usually they play those late into the night, like overnight.
Nice thing about having a 24/7 network, right?
Yes. So I'm hoping to catch up with everything that happened today, which leads me to our guy Levi is asking what Huskers showed up at the Combine. You mentioned Austin Allen.
Yeah, he's one of them. JoJo Doman is also there. Cam Taylor-Britt. Let's see, who else? Who am I missing? Is Ben Stilley there? I'm not sure. I'd have to check on that. Obviously, Samari Toure is there. So yeah, off the top of my head, that's kind of what I'm coming up with.
Cam Jurgens.
Oh yeah, Cam Jurgens. I forgot about him as an underclassman. Yep. So you got a good contingency here of Huskers, and did I have I don't have it handy, but Pro Day is coming up here too here in a couple weeks, so we'll be able to see those guys work out here in front of all the NFL scouts that invade the Hawks Center here in Lincoln on that pro day.
Husker D is warning you. This is your last warning. If you don't hit the like button, you'll be forced to eat Iowa corn for the rest of your days. So hit that like button.
Yeah.
You don't want that to happen.
And we'll cut you off from the Nebraska beef.
Okay, that too. And get some other folks in here. We're here every Tuesday at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. How are the Huskers doing on the hardwood?
I'm waiting for them to come back. It was 30-29 last I saw, so close. 33-30 Huskers. How about that? 4:34 left in the first half.
There we go.
This is the one good half Nebraska plays every game, probably.
Did they ever win a game in the Big Ten?
Yeah, they won two.
Okay.
They blew out Penn State Sunday. Scored the most points they've ever scored since joining the Big Ten. 93, I think it was. Yeah, they took Penn State apart. Made their senior center cry like a baby.
Okay.
On senior night.
Is there anything going on regarding the 23 class? Any recent news besides this junior day that you just outlined?
Well, yeah, I mean, like we just mentioned, the three in-state commits that they already have in that class, and we got the quarterback commit last week. We talked about last Tuesday that happened while we were actually on the air with Pop Watson.
It's Pop Watson, huh?
Well,
William Watson.
Well, William Pop Watson. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. We talked. That happened at halftime of his basketball game last week while we were on the air. So that was a big get. A kid that was a big Mark Whipple guy that Mark Whipple had been tutoring since he was like sixth grader or something like that, and a kid that was a starting quarterback and won 3 straight state championships. Very talented guy. That was a big get in this recruiting class right there. So, Nebraska's off to a really solid start in that 2023 class. And it's only going to get better. And then I forget to mention Dwight Boodle as well, DiCaprio Boodle's younger brother, another Boodle that's in love with the school here, that a Miami kid, and so yeah, you've got 5 solid commits already in this 2023 class, and like we said, plenty of junior days and plenty of time here because kids can come on official visits now here all month. When you get into the spring game here in April, and I expect to have a huge group of kids there to visit there on the spring game here come April 1st. So, yeah, loving what's going on right now in this recruiting class.
While Greg is answering the next question, I want everyone in the chat, do this for me. I want you to put in the chat your favorite Nebraska game ever. Doesn't have to be a championship game. Didn't have to be a big game. Didn't have to be a big opponent. Whatever game is your favorite game, puts a smile on your face, that you were the most just excited about, exhilarated about, just breathtaking win that you still cherish. Again, still puts a smile on you. Whatever game that is, put your favorite Nebraska win in the chat. While Greg tells us who the surprise players are going to be coming out of spring. Asked by Moonbot.
I'm sorry, I was reading something else. Well, biggest. Okay, I'm gonna say, like I mentioned Henry Lutovsky on the offensive line. I'm expecting a lot of big things out of him. Over on the defensive side, I got 2 guys that I'm really curious about, and I think are going to get a ton of snaps here in the spring. And one is on the inside, and that's Nash Hutchmeyer. I mean, this guy, he's already the strongest guy on the team. People were already saying this yesterday. I mean, this guy squats, small cars, and he's a beast. And then I'm going to go with a guy on the edge that had an opportunity at the end of the year last year, and really he ran with that opportunity, and that's Blaze Gunnarsson out of Iowa. He's a pass rushing dude. That's what he did in high school, and he was hampered a little bit with injury when he got here. But I'm really expecting big things out of Blaze. And then another guy that I'll throw in there too is a Tate Wildeman, another guy on the edge that I think is going to have a lot of opportunities, because one of those guys that I mentioned that's not going to participate in spring ball is Casey Rogers. So that opens up a lot of snaps for some of these younger guys. And I can't wait to see what those guys are going to be all about here when we come, because when you look at the linebacker spot, you're pretty solid on a starting unit right there. And then another guy that I think might be a surprise, a guy that's played a lot already, and that's Chris Kolarbeck. He right now, from everything that everybody's saying, has stepped into that JoJo Doman role. So that might be another guy that could have a really big breakout year as well. So those are some of the guys that I want to see. I want to see what they look like here when we get an opportunity.
All right, let's run down our favorite games. All right, starting with Roger Dodger. He says Nebraska, Miami. Well, the two played a home and home series about 5 years ago. They split those. And then, of course, they played all those Orange Bowl games, the famous 31-30 game, and then the Miami wins. Let me see if I can remember the score, 22-zip, 23-3, and then the big Nebraska win in the 95 Orange Bowl to win the national championship. So Roger Dodger, don't know exactly which one you mean, but he's going with the Miami games.
I know we asked earlier, too, which would be the best Nebraska home game for a visitor. Year in, year out, I would always say whoever that highest ranked Big Ten opponent is, unless maybe it's an Oklahoma. Like this year, I would say go to the Oklahoma game. That would be your best bet. But any game in Lincoln, especially if it's a night game against a highly ranked opponent, especially one of those teams that kind of falls into that category of all-time wins in college football. That's what you want to go. You want to go see that kind of atmosphere in Lincoln, obviously.
Dewey as well says Nebraska, Miami. Jim Allen, Nebraska, Colorado, 1994. So that Colorado team finished 11-1. So Nebraska beat them, of course, en route to the national championship, beat them 24-7, handing the Buffs their only loss. Stephanie, good to see you here. Nebraska game where Roy Halou ran for 300 on Mizzou.
That was nice. I'm waiting for somebody to bring up the game at Missouri. Matt Davison catch. That's a pretty darn memorable game in my book.
97.
Yeah.
Of course. The kick six.
Yeah.
Dano says Mizzou in 2009. Not remembering which one that is. Let's see. They beat Mizzou 27-12. 2009. Whatever your favorite is, there's no right answer here.
There's been a lot of good ones, that's for sure.
I guess Dano's listing that one because Ndamukong Suh broke Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah, that was funny. Gabby.
Fox says Henry hit a 55-yard field goal against Colorado.
That was Alex Henry that kicked that.
Oh yeah, Alex Henry. Okay.
Yeah.
Michael, Nebraska, Arizona, 09.
Well, see, Moonbot. That's something that Moonbot mentions that. Did you know that our friend Josh Banderas got drafted in the USFL?
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Nice.
Along with another handful of former Huskers. Yeah.
Where is he headed?
I would have to. I can't remember what team drafted him. I briefly saw that. But yeah, he's got another chance to play professionally. So obviously, I haven't talked to him since then, but obviously, we wish him well.
Absolutely. A lot of good responses in here. Fox says the Clemson Gator Bowl game. Vince, Colorado in
That's cool.
1992.
Wow.
Black shirt, the 2000 Notre Dame game.
That was a good. That was very memorable when Nebraska went to Notre Dame and the stands. It was a red out in South Bend. That was pretty cool to see. Remember that when all the Notre Dame fans sold their tickets to Nebraska fans, and I don't think they've ever lived that one down.
Ryan says either Texas, Nebraska 09 or Miami, Nebraska in 14 when Amir Abdullah broke the rushing yardage record over Johnny Rogers. 08 Colorado, Alex Henry, crazy long go-ahead field goal late in the fourth quarter when
that pick six Stu was amazing. Stu just dancing into the end zone, holding the ball out like a sack of potatoes. That was amazing. Yeah.
Moonbot with the 0-1 Oklahoma game. 20-10. That certainly was probably the game that iced Eric Crouch's Heisman candidacy.
Either that or the Iowa game earlier that year might have done it too. I remember he had a huge game at Iowa that year, early in the season, non-conference game.
All right, Jay Van Crump. Van Crump Howard. Greg, can you please do us a favor and help plant this seed in the Husker facilities and locker room that we need a Grant and Yant 1-2 punch, lightning and thunder combo?
That would be cool, wouldn't it? The Grant and Yant show. Yeah, I like that. I really do. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, we just met Brian Applewhite for the first time yesterday, and he's a pretty impressive dude, if I might say so. And I think he's going to be a key recruiter on the staff going forward too. So, obviously we know what kind of history Nebraska's had at the running back position, and I think they got a guy in here now that can get those kind of guys back in here. So. Yeah, I like what he's saying there. I think a thunder and lightning punch would be just what Nebraska needs, and just kind of sneakingly, after listening to Mark Whipple talk yesterday, I think that's kind of what Mark Whipple would like too. So hey, we'll see.
Tavi, appreciate you being here. Loves this podcast. Will we be relevant?
We sure hope so. That's the goal. Yeah, it's been a long time since Nebraska has been relevant, though, and that's not funny to Nebraska fans. It's a real thorn in your side if you're a diehard Husker, and people that are old enough to be a fan when Nebraska was year in and year out, a top 5 ranked team every year going into the season, and you kind of notice. You notice that. Just for example, I'll use like the Open of College Game Day. Why is Nebraska not one of those featured teams? It's an all-time program. It's a blue blood. Why are they not featured in that Open with the montage of all different college stadiums and teams playing? That's weird. I think Nebraska. People forgot around the country. People have kind of forgot how relevant Nebraska used to really be, and how badly it makes Nebraska fans feel, and just makes them want it that much more. And heck, everybody from a fan to a media person to a coach to a player, I guarantee you, they know that. They get it. And they want to be the ones to turn it around and be relevant again. And you throw Trev Alberts in there as well. He gets it too.
No, of course he gets it. See that spreadsheet with all those little boxes and all those numbers? I'm putting together an all-time ranking system, an all-time program ranking system. I'm putting all sorts of different categories in here, and I'm populating it, and I'm going to run a series where we're going to rank all the all-time programs. I finished all the teams in the Big Ten, the SEC, and the Big 12 so far. But we're going to keep going, and we'll start this series next week. So Nebraska fans, you can either love me or hate me when I come out with my all-time program rankings.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure they'll have something to say about that. Nebraska up 4. How about that?
Up 4.
Looks like an Ohio State player got hurt in the locker room. Yeah, Nebraska basketball flexing their muscle, looking for win number 3 in conference.
Does anybody out there in the live chat right now remember how many national championships Nebraska claims? Because I'm not going by the national championships claimed. I've gone through every year and I've taken away some national titles and I've added some national titles. I've got Nebraska here with 5.
Yep.
That's what I've got.
That's what they got.
Okay.
Yep.
I must not have taken any away or added any.
All 5 of those Sears trophies are right there displayed proudly inside Memorial Stadium.
Okay.
That's the most coveted as a fan coming inside Memorial Stadium. I don't care if it's game day or if you're if you're taking a tour. That's the number one picture that every fan's going to get, is that them standing there by the trophy case. And that's probably the number one picture you see recruits send out on Twitter, that, you know, they're standing there next to Coach Frost and maybe their dad or their mom and dad and Coach Frost right there in front of that trophy case. Yep.
Josh in the chat says Fox Sports has Nebraska ranked number 7 college football program all time.
I think that's kind of accurate. I mean, because, you know, they used to be, you know, top 5, you know, number 4, whatever in wins, and you know, I think some teams have overtaken them now since Nebraska's fallen on hard times for quite a while now. So that sounds pretty accurate to me.
So
that's about where I would put them too.
Let's look at it this way. I'm going to Winsipedia, and hang on. So they've got, after you get through all the ads, they've got, come on.
Was Dewey putting his phone number up here?
All right. The computer's not helping me at all. Anyway, I was going to go through all the NFL draft selection totals and conference championships, national championships, winning percentage, and the like, but my computer, my laptop, is not helping me out. Yeah, Dewey must be looking for a phone call from somebody.
Tell Roger he can fly. Probably easiest if he's coming from LA is flying into Omaha. But you can do it in Lincoln too. Omaha is easier because you can do Southwest out of LA. Lincoln, you have to go United or Delta.
Do we know what Roger is asking there? He says, what does the Nebraska roster rank as far as high school rankings and transfers?
I think he's asking for, I think he's asking for a recruiting ranking combined. I would actually probably bump that up into about, you know, if you add all the transfer portal guys and the recruiting class, I think you're right around, 20, maybe 20 to 23, 20, 25 in the country.
Yeah, so the only ranking like that I know of is the 247 roster ranking. They've got Nebraska with 83 signed. They've got a 5-star, 22 4-stars, 57 3-stars, number 23.
Yeah, that's about, I mean, that's about right to me. I mean, for a guy that's been covering recruiting for 20 years and being a big part of the recruiting rankings, I don't even need to really do the numbers on that. That's just kind of naturally came to me just by judging what I see.
How far can you throw a football?
Me? Not as far as I used to.
That's exactly what my response was going to be.
Yeah, I think my hands have shrunk too, so I probably can't grip it like I used
Oh
to.
man.
Hey, I don't know. I got beat out at quarterback in 5th grade. It was in my football league, and the guy that beat me out went to Lincoln Southeast and ended up becoming the Attorney General of the state of Nebraska. So I never played quarterback again after that. That's when I turned into a linebacker.
The last time I tried to throw a football as far as I could, my boy and I were at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. This was about 6 or 7 years ago. And they had the field open with footballs all over the place, letting people just go over to, Fawcett Stadium there and just throw the football all over the place. And I was trying to throw the ball as far as I could. I was throwing it about 40.
I see Josh there, 35 yards, question mark.
I certainly haven't gotten better, so.
I don't know. Let me get a few warm-ups in there first.
Oh, for sure. I'm not going out there cold trying to heave it as far as I could. No. I have my arm in a sling.
I'll see if I can go get a couple of the Nebraska quarterbacks, or maybe like Scott Frost or somebody to give me a few pointers on how to get a couple extra yards out of it. So how about that? Oh no! Hey, I'll mention another really cool thing. Just here, like I said, we've been doing our in-state tour, and just here this Sunday at our event here in Lincoln, which is actually the facility that we use is actually owned by Kristen Dudzik, who's a former player himself, and it was kind of cool to it was Lincoln heavy teams that were here, but we actually got a chance to meet the brand new offensive coordinator here at Lincoln North Star High School by the name of Tommy Armstrong Jr. So yeah, that was really cool. We knew that he'd taken the job, but he showed up, and a couple of our interns did a nice little interview with him, and that coaching staff now has, I think, 3 former Husker players on it now. So a brand new coaching staff there at Lincoln North Star. So that's going to be kind of cool to see how that high school develops here moving forward.
Yeah, Tommy Armstrong, just so he doesn't expect whoever wins the starting quarterback job to sling it and run it like he did.
Well, you know what? Another kind of cool thing about Tommy is that I know we've mentioned it here earlier in the season that he mentored Richard Torres, the incoming freshman quarterback that is also here on campus to start spring ball, even though he's recovering from an ACL injury. But Tommy was a guy that mentored Richard in high school out of San Antonio Southside High School. Because that's Tommy's from San Antonio, and kind of took Richard under his wing and really taught him a lot about reading defenses and stuff last year. And that's kind of cool that those two are going to be together here now. And obviously with Tommy moving back to Lincoln, you're probably going to be seeing Tommy a lot on Saturdays here moving forward. Obviously, when they play on Friday nights, he's got to have something to do on Saturday afternoon.
All right, folks, that's about all the damage we're going to do this week. We can save some for next week. Be here next Tuesday on the Nebraska channel every Tuesday, 6 Central, 7 Eastern. Bring some friends with you. We would love to build this audience up. So please help us do that here at the Voice of College Football. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way out, subscribe, hit that bell for the notifications, and of course, head on over to Husker Online right here on YouTube and check out the latest.
And we've got everything that that went on yesterday. I've got every single assistant coach's interview in full from yesterday, and a lot more stuff to come here. Obviously, now with football back in full swing, so obviously keep your eye on HuskerOnline.com.
And folks, just like Alan, just like Tim right here in the chat, you can go to our Discord by going to Patreon. You search Mark Rogers TV. So go to Patreon, search Mark Rogers TV. We'll get you the Discord link, and you can talk Nebraska football or whoever your team is all the time. And I jump in there every day at some point. All right, Greg, we've done it 58 times.
Love it. Every single time it gets better.
Awesome. Appreciate you and everything you do for us. We do this show because Greg's here every week. That's what it comes right down to. So we appreciate Greg being here. Have a great week, a great weekend, and we'll catch you back all next Tuesday.